For Meghan Markle's spare Prince Harry, these are explosive times. Accused of racism, misogyny, bullying and imperious snobbery, the devastated Duke's cherished royal brand has been disastrously damaged to the point where it may never recover. And, make no mistake, the catastrophic crisis engulfing her hapless husband could not have come at a worse moment for Meghan, as she desperately tries to repair her own tarnished image in a tawdry bid to rake in $1 billion fortune. An all-consuming endeavour that seems to have left the Duchess way too busy to come to Harry's defence in his darkest hour. Shame on her. While she puts her $10 a jar jam and other overpriced tat up for sale on her problem-plagued lifestyle site as ever, her distraught other half is mired in the fast-escalating scandal of his life, deploying his posh pals to fight an ill-advised battle against the formidable Dr. Sophie Chandauka after she sensationally alleged that the prince is a racist, misogynist bully who talked down to her and plunged his charity Sentebale into deep difficulties thanks to the notorious Sussex toxicity. Although he has not spoken directly about this bitter conflict, the King's son has let it be known he strenuously denies Dr. Sophie's serious charges. The latest exchange of fire has unfolded following Harry's shock resignation from the charity he founded in 2006 to honour his late great mother, Princess Diana. Incredibly, the royal runaway's allies say that Zimbabwean lawyer Sophie is shamelessly playing the race card, which, coming from the husband of voracious race card player and professional victim Meghan Markle, smacks of jaw-dropping double standards. Sentebale, set up to help African kids afflicted by the scourge of AIDS and HIV, has unravelled amid a furious row over the colonial style of fundraising favoured by Harry. Shades of white saviorism as wealthy benefactors gathered at polo matches in Florida, where the champagne flowed a long way from the dirt-poor black children the assembled smug millionaires were supposed to be helping. The optics were as anachronistic as they were terrible. And when charity chair Sophie moved to switch the organisation's cash operation to Africa, His Haughty Royal Highness called for her to quit. She refused. So he went instead, along with the other lackey trustees. Now it has emerged that the cultural dispute came to a head at one of Harry's polo events, to which he unexpectedly brought Meghan, who appeared to deliberately upstage Sophie in an awkward jostling for prime position at the post-match trophy presentation. As gossip about the excruciating spectacle reached fever pitch, Harry ordered seething Sophie to issue a statement of support for his wife. When she declined, stressing that Sentebale was not an extension of brand Sussex, Sophie says she received a high-handed message from Harry imperiously demanding that she explain herself. Who the hell does this guy think he is? The good doctor also told of how they lost out on a prestigious venue because of the prince's naive last-minute request to bring a Netflix film crew. This threw the various commercial sponsorship deals into disarray, and the entire occasion had to be hurriedly rearranged. Whatever the rights and wrongs of this shocking war of words, one thing is clear. Harry has made an enemy of a redoubtable woman who knows how to hit him hard where it hurts. He now stands accused of exactly what he accused the royal family of, as well as millions of Brits. Racism, born of unconscious bias. Poor old Ginger Nuts is reported to be utterly stunned and dismayed to have had the tables so humiliatingly turned on him. You might think serves him right, but I couldn't possibly comment. Now, as his venal spouse cashes in like a saleswoman possessed, and he loses yet another way to fill his increasingly empty life, the big question is, what next for Harry? Concerned friends say he rarely leaves his Montecito estate, mopes around doing very little at all, and that the Sentebale debacle has plunged him into despair. It will surely take more than just the once every 2 years Invictus Games to give the directionless Duke a sense of purpose. Does he regret exiting Britain and all that he left behind? You decide. Meanwhile, the superfan Team Sussex Lynch-Mob that hunts in maniac packs has so viciously piled in on Dr. Sophie that she has been forced to shut down her social media accounts. But will this tenacious lady of colour back down? Will she hell? Be afraid, Harry. Be very afraid. Yeah, Samara, he's really met his match here, hasn't he? And, I suppose we shouldn't revel in what's happening here. This is a serious dispute about racism, bullying, snobbery, imperiousness. But you can't help sort of rather enjoying the fact that Harry is getting exactly what he deserves, a taste of his own medicine. He's been having a go at us and the royal family for years now. You're all racist, you're all racist. Now, everyone is saying he's one too. Serves him right?
Yeah, how does it feel, Harry? Honestly, it's quite interesting. Everyone keeps saying, has he met his match? Is this his match? I think Dr. Sophie is in no way even on the same level as him. This is a top solicitor. This is someone who has worked as an executive at Meta. She has been under extremely high profile and high pressure situations. And it's pretty telling that brand Harry and Meghan are the ones to push her to the edge.
I'll tell you what, she's passed exams. She's got a university degree, which really differentiates her from education-free Harry, doesn't it?
She's a doctor. She's got an honorary PhD. She is an extremely educated and qualified woman. On paper, I was just thinking, this is probably who the royal family would have preferred Harry to marry, to be honest, because she's just so accomplished.
By the way, she comes from an extremely well-to-do African family,
yes,
who are one of the major donors, or were one of the major donors to Sentebale. Before we bring you in, Russell, let's have a look at the redoubtable doctor having a go at Harry.
Really, what Prince Harry wanted to do was to eject me from the organisation, and this went on for months. It went on for months through bullying, harassment. When that failed, Prince Harry started to brief, and his team, sponsors that I'd been speaking to against me.
So this ginger idiot then calls in his chinless wonder mates, his buddies, to start talking for him, and this guy goes out and says that Dr. Sophie is playing the race cards. Can you believe that coming from Harry?
Well, I kind of can, because they're absolute massive hypocrites. And look, they're the dregs of the universe as far as I'm concerned. The hypocrisy here should not be lost on us. Samara's words just now around work, I thought work was the operative word in what you just said, because Harry and Meghan have never actually worked in their lives. But fancy picking on a black female, which Harry has just done, given, as you've laid out, all of what's gone before us, accusing the royal family of racism, but of course very cleverly not saying who, so that the thing would fester and fester. So it has come back to bite them. But where we shouldn't be surprised is, don't forget, Harry, this is the individual that years ago was photographed wearing a Nazi uniform.
Yeah, indeed. Now, the other aspect of this that Dr. Sophie is complaining about is that this guy, Harry, he's so unworldly, so naive. So they had set up one of his polo events to raise money, as I say, behold the white saviours.
It's all very Marie Antoinette,
exactly.
Let them eat cake from the polo field.
It's white saviorism. Anyway, they'd set it all up. It did raise decent amounts of money, but as I say, Sophie and the African people involved in the Sentebale just felt that this was white colonialism. They didn't like it, and I can agree with that. I think it's excruciating to behold all these posh people with champagne playing polo in Florida, raising money for dirt poor black kids in Africa. It's really uncomfortable. But anyway, they'd set this up. And then Harry, at the last minute, said, I'm going to bring a Netflix crew. Now, there are all these sponsorship deals. If you bring a film crew, a camera crew from a massive broadcasting company, it completely changes the dial. All the companies want to know, hang on a second, so they had to cancel that venue. Here's Sophie talking about just that.
Nobody signed up into being on a Netflix show. And so we have this discussion about the need to talk to everybody. We come up with draft agreements. And of course, the venue owner says this is now a commercial undertaking. So here are my terms. We couldn't afford it. So now we lost the venue.
It's just ridiculous. Now,
it was meant to be about raising money for charity, turns into a spectacle for the bloody Netflix
but also
crew.
it's so naive.
Excruciating.
So you can't just do that. This guy doesn't really live on planet Earth.
But Meghan as
he
well.
lives on planet Harry.
But
Meghan bringing along Serena Williams, that was also completely not thought out or thought through.
Everything that this
dynamic
dynamic duo does turns to crap. I mean, nothing succeeds. Everything they touch fails. And here's a question. What would his mother think of this?
Yeah,
what would Diana think of this, honestly?
Well, that's the other thing. He has abrogated this charity. It was a good charity, 2006. One of the other things, by the way, that Harry was upset about was that Sophie and the Africans, mostly it revolved around the country of Lesotho, a landlocked country in the middle of Africa, where there was a terrible affliction of AIDS. Yeah, lots of people died, loads of kids lost their parents. One of the things that Sophie wanted to get away with, they said, basically, we don't really have an AIDS problem anymore, but these kids are very poverty-stricken. They've still lost their parents, so that's the way forward. Oh, no, he wanted AIDS. He wanted the AIDS angle. But anyway, in a minute, we're going to play you where all of this dispute came to a head. And let's not forget, this didn't happen overnight. Dr. Sophie didn't suddenly turn up and they didn't get on with Harry. She'd been the chair of that charity for 6 years. But she was getting increasingly uncomfortable about the white saviorism, the colonialism of the fundraising. She said, let's bring the fundraising into Africa. I can't have that. Explain yourself.
It's too far. Too far for us to go.
Well, exactly right. So anyway, it came to a head at another of these polo events where Harry unexpectedly brought Meghan, and as you say, Samara, also Serena Williams. And at the trophy presentation afterwards, you can see, look at this.
This is cringeable.
This is cringe. Look at Meghan trying to honestly.
And this literally had nothing to do with Meghan at all.
This is one of the most successful solicitors.
Yeah.
She won Young Solicitor of the Year award. She is a highly decorated person, one of the first black female executives at Meta, and Meghan is making her duck under a trophy.
But she's literally being elbowed out. Can you imagine if a white middle-aged guy like me or Kevin, well, I say middle-aged, did that kind of thing? We would immediately be branded by the media as misogynistic racists.
And it's because Meghan wants to be in the middle.
Yeah.
Meghan wants to be the star of the show.
So that excruciating footage, which went viral, was the centre of such a sort of firestorm of global gossip that Harry got in touch with Dr. Sophie Chandauka and demanded that she put out a statement of support to Meghan.
Yeah.
Of course, Dr. Sophie said, no, I'm not doing that. For one, I don't particularly want to do that. And secondly, Sentebale is not an extension of brand Sussex.
Yeah.
Anyway, here is Sophie talking about just that.
There was a lot of talk about the Duchess and the choreography on stage and whether she should have been there and her treatment of me. Prince Harry asked me to issue some sort of a statement in support of the Duchess, and I said I wouldn't.
Do you know, I'm falling in love with Dr. Sophie.
Yeah, I am too.
I have to say, I think she's awesome. I mean, not only is she smart and level-headed, but she's one of the only people that's ever stood up to this pair.
So
that's why Harry is reeling. His wife, at this darkest hour of his life, this is the worst crisis of his life. He's losing his cherished royal brand. Where is she? Why won't she support? I'll tell you what she's done. She has distanced herself from her husband because she's trying to flog tat online through her useless lifestyle site, and she doesn't want to be tarnished by this racism row, this bullying row. Of course, bullying rows, she knows all all about? Because she's a bully to her staff, right?
This is where it all comes from. I actually always thought Harry was like some happy-go-lucky freak that was just good at smiling in front of the cameras. But this reveals a really...
not even good at that.
Well, exactly. I mean, it just...
He's not good at anything.
It reveals a very dark and insidious side to him, which I think is propelled by, as you spoke about, his mother and this sort of like savior complex that he's gotten from her. Now, I have got a list of all the organisations that he's made write letters defending Meghan.
Oh, brilliant. Look at this.
The NYPD.
He's come prepared.
The NYPD, Archwell staff, South African staff, Australian staff, Buckingham Palace staff, Kensington Palace staff, Sentebale, which we are discussing right now, Invictus Games, Gavin Newsom had to issue a statement about her, and the Uvalade survivors' families as well.
Right, so hold on.
Wow.
Hold on. Harry has got in touch with all of those
Yes.
organisations to
Yes.
demand they put out a statement of support about Meghan.
Correct. That's...
When do these people get off,
But, no,
Russell?
but there's massive elitism and self-entitlement there, of course. But what's the common denominator here? All of these people being asked to support the one person that
The B
clearly
word.
is in the wrong.
Yes, that's
Bullying.
right. But I think, as I said, shame on Meghan. You should be supporting your husband now. She should be out there speaking up for him. I think this is disgusting to see what's happening here. I mean, as I say, I don't share a tear for either of them. I couldn't care less about them. But I think she should be supporting her poor husband at his lowest ebb of his life, for Christ's sake.
It's taken this Dr. Sophie, a black woman, to actually reveal both of them for who they are. Him, this sort of desperate, shambolic person who loves to write emails behind the scene and think that he's defending everyone and putting his name right. And Meghan, who could not care less. She just wants to get ahead, as you said, sell her tat online and not have any of this affect her. It is really,
But they're supposed to be two of the world's, or they think they're the world's biggest social justice champions.
Yeah, well-
And look at them. They're just a couple of elite thugs.
Who wants
really.
a jar of jam?
And of course, there's
jam,
also...
I've got a jar of jam. In fact, it's not even allowed to be called jam.
No.
It's fruit spread because there's not enough sugar in it.
There's also news this
$10, $10 for a jar of
But also
bloody
news this week,
jam.
this is going to get worse and worse and worse. News this week reached us, of course, that the Charity Commission are now saying that they are going to formally investigate this charity.
Are they now? Are they? I mean, I know that they were
News
hovering around
trusting.
it. That is interesting. But I mean, that's what Meghan is like. She's like a sort of Cockney stall holder, isn't she? I got jam. Look at this honey. I got herbal tea. Who wants my goods? Come on. Can't say fairer than that.
Is she the female American equivalent of Del Boy?
Yeah,
we should
yeah,
mock her
she
up with a
is.
sheepskin and a load of watches inside
this was
her jacket like
as
this.
you say, Russell. This was the couple, particularly her. They were going to change the world. They were going to improve the world with their global philanthropy effort. And now what's she doing? Flogging cheap tat, trying to make $1 billion. Tawdry doesn't even begin to cover it.
Well, interestingly, one of our
Oh,
viewers...
you've got a load of
viewers-
YouTube comments,
Well,
right?
a couple. One of our viewers has said, kind of along the same lines, her only talent is growing old and stale. She better find an old billionaire who won't mind. That's very true.
Yeah, look out, Elon.
Yeah.
Meghan's coming.
And It's Just Molly says, Harry should never have married somebody beneath him. That was not in his same class. I kind of agree with that. I actually really do agree.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
when
we
you
would-
say class, I mean, I suppose you have to grudgingly admit in terms of the social ladder, he's at the top of it because he's a member of the royal family. But he's not high class, he's a low class guy. And she's even lower, right, Russ?
Yeah, no, indeed. Well, look, I think the mask has well and truly slipped, don't you? And I think it's
it's
fabulous,
funny.
fabulous that this has happened. And yeah, they picked on the wrong person. But this isn't going away. This is going to run and run and run. This is going to get worse and worse. Other people, I suspect, are going to come out of the woodwork to support Dr. Sophie and say, do you know what? She's right. We've seen the WhatsApp messages. We've seen the emails. We've overheard the behaviour of these two.
There are enough testimonies.
Unless, one thing, right? So she did put her crappy jam and stuff, fruit spread, up for sale.
Did you buy any, Kev?
Well, we have actually ordered some, yes.
I hope so.
My show, The Political Asylum, every weekday night, 7 to 10 on Talk. I highly recommend it. 7 to 10, don't miss it. We have ordered some of Meghan's tat, and we look forward to it arriving.
I can't wait for the taste test.
This is what she did. This is what she did. We had trouble getting it because it did really sell out very, very
It's now
quickly.
got tariffs on it.
Yeah, but what? No, the tariffs. That's a good point. But what she did, everyone knows. It's an old trick. you're in the commercial world, you know what it is. If you limit the availability of something, so you say it's on sale now, and then 10 seconds later you say it's all sold out. It's because you only had 5 items for sale. So you give the illusion that these items are really in demand, but they're not, are they? I don't think.
No, no one really. I mean, has she stepped outside the gates of her mansion and actually seen what's going on in America right now? People can't even bloody afford eggs, let alone a.
Kev, you know what's going to happen?
$14 jar of jam.
You're going to receive this tat, right? This absolute rubbish through the mail, complete with tariffs, by the way, as we've just said. And right on the back of it, it's going to have a big label that says "Made in China."
Yeah.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
It's certainly not homemade. It can't be homemade.
You're joking.
Not
Well,
made
she
in
doesn't.
Montecito,
I had an
remember?
image of her in her kitchen, kind of with a big saucepan, and
Well,
she
she
would
tried
actually
to
be.
do that, actually. She did make a promotional video where she was like brewing the jam up in some sort of weird
To give the
kitchen
impression that she was
again,
pouring
She
into
said-
these little bottles.
Yeah, so this technique is an old trick in the commercial world. Don't have much available, then announce you've sold out in 10 minutes
lying,
because it's so much in demand and everybody wants it.
It's called lying.
You create the illusion of popularity of your product. But
That's definitely true, because the edible flowers sold out
she
first.
immediately, with it literally, it went on sale. An hour later, she said, "My heart is full, but our shelves are empty."
But your wallet's full, Meghan.
Yeah, well, she had that statement all ready to roll before they even went on sale. And have you seen the sort of herbal honey tea? It looks like a urine sample. probably tastes like it as well.
The hibiscus one, which is red, looks like something else.
Do you know what?
Looks like you probably
If she
need to go to the
labelled it
doctor
as
after.
Harry's piss, I think it would.
Well, you know what?
Harry's piss tea. Yeah. That's a
point,
winner.
Russell.
Can we do our own?
Yeah.
Well, she's already commercialising her children because she's got new products coming out. One of them is called something
Her
like...
ginger children.
Yeah.
They're massively ginger.
Hang on,
really
are they
red-headed.
selling ginger nuts?
Yeah, ginger nuts. That's what they should be
With a
selling.
picture of the kids.
Anyway, listen. We're going to go to a real break now. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to part 2 of What Just Happened. As you know, this is when we do the big moment, the big stories of the week. We'll get to that in a little while because usually this is when our magician guest, Andrew Eborn, barrister, broadcaster, magician, the unholy trinity of talents, he does a trick for us. So Andrew's not here. He's sunning himself in Italy. So we thought we'd get Russell to do a trick.
Sure.
And he protested that he doesn't know how to do tricks, but he's got one. So let's have a look then, Russell. Take it away. Hey, abracadabra. It's Russell's trick.
OK, are you ready? I am available for parties, bar mitzvahs and weddings.
That was pretty good. I was hoping it would be really bad.
Show you how it's done.
You're better than Eborn.
No,
I mean, he burnt himself when he did his flip.
I'll get thrown out the magic circle, but I can show you how it's done if you want, without the scarf.
Russell's going to...
No. Let's preserve the magic.
Intrigue.
No. Leave it there. Get rid of your trick. Right. Let's get to some serious stuff. It's time for this.
3, 2, 1.
Love that. Never gets old. So we've got a couple of big stories this week, but usually we do an American one because it's more global, but I think this is a story that will probably already has rebounded all over the world because it's outrageous. It's a classic example of police overreach in increasingly tyrannical Britain. Radio producer Maxie Allen, who works for this company, the same company as us, he's a producer for Times Radio, and his partner, they got 3 kids, they live in Hertfordshire. Now, they had a parents' WhatsApp group for the parents of kids in this primary school, little kids' school. And, the way parents do, this. Anyway, basically, Maxie and his partner complained. They were a bit unhappy about their head teacher there. Anyway, basically they got arrested for this, for complaining about the head teacher in a private WhatsApp group. What's going on? Here's Maxi talking about his ordeal.
6 police officers came to my house and arrested me. Why? Because I'd been talking about my daughter's school on a WhatsApp group. It was the morning of Wednesday, the 29th of January, about 11:45. I was on a Zoom call for a work project, when on my Zoom screen, in the little window where I saw my own face, I realised that 2 police officers were standing behind me. Another 2 police officers were arresting my partner, Rosalind, in front of Francesca, our 3-year-old daughter. They bundled us into the police cars and took us off to custody at Stevenage Police Station, where we remained for the next 12 hours. He arrested me on suspicion of harassment and malicious communications, and it was to do with a dispute with our daughter's primary school, which began with posts on a WhatsApp group.
So that is a chilling story of our times, and it's still going on in this country. Donald Trump is eradicating it magnificently in America. They're getting rid of all this wokery because that's at the bottom of this. But this has to stop. Malicious communication and harassment. Now, what it is the school, and you know, teachers are always left-wing. The school have complained to the police are always left-wing, and therefore this outrageous miscarriage of justice has been bestowed upon this poor couple, Maxi and his partner Rosalind. And their kids had to watch this. They were held, Russell, in the police station for 12 hours, and they didn't find out for 5 weeks later. The cops finally said, oh, nothing to see here, you won't be prosecuted. What would they have been prosecuted for in the first place? And this week, only this week, the Chief Constable of Hertfordshire Police, a guy called Andy Prophet of Doom, as I'm calling him, came out and said we were entirely justified to do this. Andy, you were not. This is not North Korea. It's not China. This is Great Britain. Don't do that ever again. It's outrageous, isn't it?
And look, we know that this is not an isolated incident. So this is happening almost every day in Britain now, where police overreach. I mean, we're tantamount now to a police state, I would say. And no other laws, no increase in the legislation is resulted in this. This is the interpretation by senior police officers that actually if you say something that's a little bit uncomfortable, or if someone you know, one of your fellow lefties, says, look, we don't really like this criticism, what should we do? Should we call it, I don't know, harassment? Or should we play the malicious communications card? What these senior police officers involved here should have done is said to the person complaining, which I assume was the newly installed head teacher at that school, I'm sorry, sort this out amongst yourselves. It sounds to me like a storm in a teacup. It's a bit of a debate. It is not a police matter. Do one.
Yeah. Do you know what Andy Prophet said, the Chief Constable, in retrospect? He said perhaps we could have just talked to them.
Or not sent 6 police officers.
He also said perhaps we didn't need 6 uniformed police officers.
Really?
And perhaps we didn't need 3 armoured police vehicles. Yeah, you don't say, Andy. You don't say. For God's sake. This, of course, ties into what happened to the Daily Telegraph columnist, friend and colleague of ours, Alison Pearson, when 2 coppers turned up on her doorstep on Remembrance Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. She answered the door in a nightie, and they wanted to talk to her about a tweet she sent a year ago. This is ridiculous. As I say, this is not North Korea. This is Britain. And guess what happened this week as well? A 3-year-old, this is the same kind of syndrome, the increasingly despotic nature of Great Britain, where Keir Starmer is presiding over a democracy that's falling apart at the seams and is turning into a socialist tyranny. What happened this year was a 3-year-old toddler was expelled from his nursery class, his nursery school, after being accused of transphobia. A 3-year-old kid expelled from his nursery school for transphobia. I mean, are you telling me a 3-year-old kid even knows what transphobia is? A grown adults did this to a toddler. What is going on, Samara?
At the same time, if the 3-year-old kid turned up to school in a cat uniform and started saying, oh, I identify as a kitten now, they wouldn't be reprimanded at all. They'd be told, oh, yeah, bring your litter box next time.
No, Samara,
I'm not even joking. That is what's going on.
In my daughter's school, that actually is happening.
I know, because I've actually spoken to people in Australia where that's 3 children in her class are using litter boxes. So I'm saying there is this real, disjointed philosophy me to peddling different things.
Yeah.
But, you know, when we talk about people showing up at other people's doors, I think the worst part about this is when Britain isn't even getting the best of what a police state could be. It's
not a good police state.
Right,
I don't think there's such a thing as there's really good things about a police state, you know. I don't think there are any. But listen. We need to move on to the other big story of the week. Actually, it happened not that long ago. Before filming this, I was live on air for it. This was, of course, Trump's brilliant tariff speech, which was typical Trump. I mean, we were all waiting for it, and it happened. Outside the White House, and he turns up with this sort of big board full of all the countries.
He loves the board.
So here he goes.
You think of the European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%. We're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. They charge us, we charge them, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be, because we never charge anybody anything.
He's right. Britain hasn't done very well out of this, to say the least. Now, so he's imposed 25% tariffs on all foreign cars being sold in America, which will have a devastating effect on the British car industry. 25,000 people could lose their jobs. But that said, and 10%. On Britain on other goods, which is a better deal than the European Union got. But we didn't get any special treatment because of our alleged special arrangement. We're just another country to him. America has been giving everyone a really, really good deal ever since the Second World War. It's all about helping the rest of the world to recover. Respect to America. It's about time the rest of us stopped depending on American generosity. So whilst I can understand that this is going to have a pretty catastrophic effect for a while anyway, it's about time, isn't it, Samara?
Yeah, I think America's sick of being the wealthy aunt or uncle of the world and giving free handouts to everyone. I think it's really refreshing to see this America First policy. And yes, I know other countries are going to feel scorned and broken by it, but just look at the other side of that board. Those are the tariffs that they were putting on America for American goods. So it's not like this is some sort of thing that he's put in his mind as, I'm going to punish all these countries. He's actually just saying, no, I want a fair deal for my people.
Other countries have absolutely no right to feel scorned. They started it, particularly the EU. So the EU imposes a 39% tariff on US goods. We impose a 10% tariff. Places like Cambodia...
1.3%. We impose really low... So, that was what... used to be the deal with America, and now it's gone up to 10%. But when people say...
But there are many, many countries that impose ridiculous tariffs on US imports into their country. Cambodia is 90%, for instance. So all Trump is doing is reciprocating. What the commentariat have been saying over the last few days is that this is aggressive, but it's not, and they now want to reciprocate by increasing this tariff. He is now reciprocating against them, and why on earth shouldn't he? And talk of this stuff around, good job Keir Starmer went to the White House and helped negotiate the fact that we're now only getting a 10% levy. Well, actually, if you look at the maths, what Donald Trump's just said there in the clip is that he has decided that he's going to roughly impose half the tariff on other countries that they were imposing on those countries. Ours is the same. So therefore, we didn't get a special deal. We've got a worse deal in percentage terms.
The tariffs on British goods in America were 1.3%. So they've gone up to 10%. Quite rightly, because we were charging America 10%.
That's right.
So they were doing this all over the world. As I say, it's a ridiculous hangover from the Second World War, where the big country of the world, very generously, America said, we're going to help the world recover by giving them these very generous trade deals. And they're still going. I mean, what is this now? It's a long time after the Second World War. So, hey-ho.
But we've imposed tariffs on other countries for years. The EU is famous for the extent of their tariffs. How dare Ursula von der Leyen, or whatever her name is, how dare she say that this is inappropriate and somehow wrong when the EU themselves have been imposing tariffs on other countries for decades?
Yeah, and Keir Starmer didn't move the dial at all. And, this was a good reason to be out of, one of the great reasons for Brexit, to be out of the European Union, because they got 20%, we got 10%. But it's a bit like saying, it's brilliant, because he punched the hell out of the Europeans twice, and he only punched the hell out of us once. Hooray! Break out the champagne! This is going to be painful for all of us, but Good for America. It's about bloody time. Now, let's go to a bad ad.
She is the queen of Australian country music, Jean Stafford. And this is her finest collection. 18 of Jean Stafford's greatest hits, which have seen her honoured with Golden Guitar Awards, national #1 albums, and acclaim as Australia's Country Entertainer of the Year. Also included as a duet with the legendary Smokey Dawson. And for the very first time, Jean Stafford's finest collection on video, featuring live concert, television and video clip performances. Jean Stafford's finest collection on CD, cassette and video. The country music event of the year. In stores for a limited time. Also available her platinum-selling album classic from Dino.
So, Jean Stafford, you're a big fan? Is one of your countrywomen? She's got big hair.
Yeah, I'm
big
a big
hair.
fan of that mullet hairstyle.
It's massive. It's
That's
massive.
the only album of hers I don't have, so I'm now going to rush out and try and find
So
one.
that's no doubt in Australia considered to be real cutting-edge music, eh? Right?
She's number one now.
Out there.
Is she number one?
One at the moment,
Number one right now. We're going to go to a real Samara Gill. As you know, regular viewers will know, this is viewers' questions time, when you send in questions and I answer them badly. So fire away, Ms. Gill.
Taxpayers, British taxpayers, have spent over £4 million deporting 8 Albanian migrants. Is this good value for money?
Yeah, brilliant value. Yeah, it's absolutely excellent. Yeah, I mean, this is the British migrant crisis. Again, we look across the Atlantic. It's that way, by the way. Or is it that way? Anyway, we look over to America and we look at Donald Trump. It's like he's fixing all the problems that we've still got, including their migrant crisis, the American migrant crisis. Our migrant crisis here is getting worse by the day. So, a couple of years ago, the then Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, came up with this deal with Albania. So, in our prisons, we've got 10,000. We've got a total of about 90,000 prisoners in all of our prisons. 10,000 of them are foreigners and 1,200 of them are Albanians. A lot of people get fed up with all the Albanians coming over here, but they do provide a very good service to drug takers, supplying all the narcotics that you could ever need. So here's to Albania. Anyway, 1,200 of them. 200 of them are like rapists, murderers, drug barons, the worst kind of dangerous criminals. So Rishi Sunak did a deal with Albania, whereby we gave them £4 million a year. We Brits, for some reason, improved their prisons. We did their prisons up and hilariously bought for them a fleet of prison vans made by Porsche that were net zero vans, of course, electric, marvellous. Got to think about the planet. So £4 million a year to get rid of these 200 Albanian prisoners and then maybe more. After 2 years, how many of them we got rid of? 8. 8. That's how many we've managed to deport under Rishi's brilliant scheme. One of the few schemes that the new socialist government kept after the Conservative government was voted out. So the Labour have kept this scheme because it's such a success. It's because of the bureaucracy, apparently, that the Albanians insist that every prisoner that we're going to deport, that they have to ratify the sentence they were given. So it's a non-starter.
Kev, this is everything that is wrong about politics,
it
right?
is.
Whether it's here or any other European country or the US, where politicians have this propensity to say things that are a nice headline-grabbing thing without really thinking about the practicalities or the consequences. So Rishi Sunak, I remember this actually being heralded 2 or 3 years ago, where it was, this is fantastic, we've got a load of Albanians coming over, they're coming over illegally, they're going to take them all back, problem solved. And of course, he knew damn well, a bit like Keir Starmer and this ridiculous, boring, repetitive rhetoric of smash the gangs, which isn't happening
Smash the gangs.
and isn't ever going to happen. They know it's a headline to make them look good. It's the ultimate gaslighting, but they know it's not going to make any difference.
But if they did smash the gang, we're going to smash the evil people smuggling gangs. It's not a strategy that will work.
And 9 months on,
It
how
doesn't
many
matter.
have they
Well,
smashed?
they haven't smashed any, but even if they smashed 100, there'd be new gangs.
No, there was one guy on a beach in Bodrum in
That's not a
Turkey
gang, is
with
it?
a lilo.
That's
it. That's the only person they've ever
That's not a gang. That's not a
operate.
gang. They're making hundreds of millions of pounds a year. They're now offering, listen to this, folks, these people smugglers who provide these small boats that we get hundreds of these illegal foreigners coming into Britain every day, and then we go, oh, look, have a nice 4-star hotel. Would you like 45 quid a week? Free food, lawyers, dentists? Oh yeah, enjoy, enjoy your life in Britain. Anyway, they're now saying to these people that if you smash these people smugglers, there'll just be new ones tomorrow.
Of course.
What you've got to do to solve this crisis is stop the migrants. If you stop the migrants, that smashes the gangs because they've got no customers.
Yeah.
So the migrants keep coming, and we're doing nothing to stop them, except offering lots of enticements. This, folks, for all of you who don't live in Britain, because the people of Britain, the long-suffering Brits, know all about this, but all of you who don't live in Britain, our migrant crisis is the maddest thing on the face of the planet. We just allow people to get in these stupid little boats, come across the English Channel, and then we just give them loads of money.
It's like turning on an electromagnet, and they just kind of come across the channel towards us.
We should either turn them around in the middle of the channel and take them back to France, or as soon as they get to Britain, we should say to them, well, that's an illegal vessel. Most of them dump their passports in the sea anyway, in the ocean. So we just say, you came here illegally, you've broken our laws, we'll detain you, and then we'll deport you. That message would stop the migrants. Never mind the gangs. As long as there are migrants, there will be gangs, right?
They're so entitled. And actually, I've been talking to an Albanian asylum seeker this week because he burgled multiple different English people's homes, and now he drives around in a Rolls Royce. Anyway, I've been talking to him for my other job, trying to get him on the show that you have, Kevin. Yeah. And the thing that just strikes me...
Political Asylum, 7 to 10 every night on Talk, Monday to Friday. Don't miss it. Sorry.
The thing that struck me the most is the fact that he goes, oh, I've done my bit. I deserve to live here. I don't know why everyone's after me. I'm doing my thing. It's like, come on, you've broken the law. Detain and deport is the only policy.
Something is noted. I heard, though, that Ireland has it even worse. On Ireland, the Irish government giving migrants €500 in cash every week.
We encourage them. We encourage Seriously. Them. We give them £45 a week. We also give them free food, free hotels, free doctors, free dentists, and the best of all, free lawyers to fight their case to stay in the country. Boom, it's absolutely insane. Time for a bad ad.
Dippity-doo.
You!
Dippity-doo.
For setting your hair.
Dippity-doo.
Rollers.
Dippity-doo.
Easy, neat.
Dippity-doo.
No slips, no drips.
Dippity-doo. Dippity-doo. Dippity-doo.
Real body.
Dippity-doo.
Holes and holes.
Dippity-doo.
You.
For you.
Do you know what that reminds me of? Back in the day, those watching this that are old enough to remember will appreciate this. There used to be a thing called dripping. Do you remember? Which was something that you had on your toast and your bread, which was made of the fat from the roast dinner you had the night before. That, given the label, dripping, that looks like it's effectively beef fat being put on your hair.
No, I remember dripping on something. But in the meantime, it is time for the complaints department. This is when we run through a lot of the messages that you send us. We get thousands every week. I say this every week, but we really do appreciate it. And keep them coming, and we'll read yours out one day for sure. So let's get kicking. You first, Samara.
Nellie Pennington has said, Kevin, I love your show all the way from Northern Alberta, Canada. Would love to send you a Canadian flag to represent on your desk. What is your mailing address, dear?
Who's that from again?
That's from Nelly.
Nelly, I wouldn't want to put you to the expense, but we'll get one ourselves. It's a really good point. Do you know we got a load of viewers in Latvia for some reason? So we got Australia, obviously America, God bless America, and Britain.
You're a big hit in Eastern Europe.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to do some sort of salute that I shouldn't do.
No, don't.
Maybe don't right now. Maybe don't right now.
Yeah, to America. I'm not going to do what I was going to do to Britain. The way this country is going, but you know what I
did win the war, Kev.
Anyway, we won the war, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Latvia, Australia. So I think we should get a Latvian flag, but definitely a Canadian flag. You're absolutely right. Russell, you next.
Christine, I think it's Chandelier. Sorry, it might be Candelier, but Christine Chandelier. I love Samara.
Oh.
Okay. Oh my God, do I really have to read this?
Why?
She is just so intelligent and wild, and I love this new association without crying Simon.
I'm glad I fooled you.
Yeah.
Simon. Yeah, rip Simon.
Fan mail.
Was that from your sister or something? Or your mother?
I have neither.
This is terrible. With all the things happening in the world, can't you find anything else to report? Shame on you. So I don't know what that related to specifically, but...
I think it's probably our Harry and Meghan
Harry and
obsession.
Meghan, probably.
No, we can't. So thanks very much. Next!
Patty says, that yacht girl will be setting sail without that washed-up prince real soon. I think she's right. Patty is right.
Yeah, do you know what? I really do think, we discussed this last week, didn't we, Samara, that I think Meghan has used Harry to get to where she is now. His use for her is all done, that he serves no purpose for her anymore. She's that famous, she's cashing in. I don't think that marriage is going to last long. Next, Russ.
Can't read the surname again, but let's call him Steve Dignitas. I think that's what it says. It's something like that.
He's not long for this world.
From Switzerland, no doubt. So as a journalist, you think you have the right to make personal negative comments about politicians. Yeah, we do. Including the Prime Minister, and that's fine. But what makes you believe that other people do not have the right to voice publicly their opinions? Well, you can say what you like. We don't care.
What do you mean?
Yeah, we can say what we like, and you can say what you like. No censorship here yet.
This is the policy of this show is free speech is sacred. The other policy of this show is that Harry and Meghan don't actually have any children, that they've conned us all. That's the policy of what just happened. Go on.
The most famous podcast in Australia did this big piece on me saying that girl shouldn't have an opinion, which was really lovely. So
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, so
go on, Samara. What you got next?
Jamie has said, love your blistering commentaries, Kevin. You never fail to tell it like it is, but I wish that you would sometimes let your guests get a word in.
That's enough of that.
Okay, and my last one.
Jamie, very good point, but, you know, I am that I am. What can I do?
If I just get a word in, Kev. This one is, I think it's Debbie Harry. Love.
Debbie Harry?
I think so, something like that. It's Deborah Henry, actually, but...
Deborah Henry. Give them their right names. Come on, they made the evidence. Just make the names up.
But aren't made-up names funnier?
No, because these people have made... Well, they might be, but they've made an effort to send
Sorry,
Deborah Henry.
Deborah Herbie. Yeah,
Herbie?
She is. Yeah,
What is
sorry, Deborah.
Deborah
Love
Herbie.
Andrew. She says, I love Andrew. He actually has a lovely personality, along with Samara. That's two you've got now. Kevin has good common sense. Oh, come on.
Yeah, thank you.
And tells it like it is. Good show. Yeah, I completely disagree with all of that.
Well, I think that's Debbie. Very
Did you get a free mug?
Very, very wise lady you are. Thank you very much for your kind words. Go on, Samara.
New Book has said, Kevin and Samara, be careful about dumping on Meghan. She may blacklist you from her parties in her mansion.
Yeah, she may blacklist. If she tells me that I'm blacklisted from her parties, my response will be, yeah, how do I know you'll keep your promise?
Are we allowed to say that? Can we say that, blacklist? I thought that's...
Oh, no,
phrase
sorry,
has been
blacklist,
banned.
bad. Anyway, talking of bad, it is time for our final bad ad.
Rich, thick, and delicious. There's no ketchup quite like Heinz.
That's a good ad.
That's great.
Do you want to know a pop fact? Do you want to know a pop fact about me?
A pop fact?
A pop fact.
You were once in a Heinz advert.
I have never, ever tasted tomato ketchup. Tomato ketchup.
What?
No.
Why not?
Are you
Don't like the look of it.
But
Really? You never tried...
I've never had a McDonald's either.
What?
I've never had a McDonald's because they put ketchup on them.
He said he was a man of the people.
I think you need to get out more, Kevin O'Sullivan.
And no. I just,
Some people have a
I don't want
phobia.
ketchup,
Some people don't like it.
And McDonald's don't like the look of them either. So on that elitist bombshell, that's the end of this edition of What Just Happened. Be there next week because it's the centenary special. This has been great. You've been great. I've been mediocre. They've been excellent. Back next week. Be there.